Can't help myself. I'm hungry. Hey, warning. Before you install these triggers, you should probably save your old triggers. Just because you don't like them, or it totally ruins your life. How do you save your old triggers? This is what you do, right? Open up your Gina program. See here? Sippycup. Come over here. I want to save my Cleric triggers. So what I do, I click on this whole group of things here. I go to sharing. And by the way, you're saving yours as a backup. I'm telling you to do this because you might merge my triggers and absolutely hate it. And if you don't do this, you can't go back to where you were. So do this first, okay? Sharing, export. Export to a Gina package file, okay? Put it in your downloader folder. Name it Pimentos Triggers. Whatever you want to do. Click the save. It's going to take what you have and put it there in your downloader folder. And here it is. Pimentos Triggers. So just in case you're interested in my triggers, you install them. This is like an after effect. I thought about this after I made you a video. I said, let me do this. Let me add this to the beginning of that video just in case, okay? You hate my triggers for some reason. You want to go back the way you had yours. Now at this point, you can come back here and right-click, delete Sippycup's triggers. Once you delete my triggers, you go back to your downloader folder. You double-click this thing here, and it's gonna merge it back into your Gina folder, and you'll have your triggers back. Okay, please do that before you do anything. Like, stop the video, do that right now, then watch the video of me explaining how to install my triggers and everything else, and you'll thank me later. Because you might like my triggers, you might love them, perfect. But let's say you don't. You're gonna thank me for this little intro to the real video. Okay? Yeah. See ya. Hey, Pimento. I'm gonna make this video real quick for you for these Cleric triggers. It's not so cut and dry as to just downloading them. There's a couple of things you should know, setting it up just to make sure that they work properly for you. Because I found out in the past when you merge triggers, sometimes they don't work 100%. So I'm just going to do this real quick for you just so you can go and visually see what needs to be done to make this work at optimal performance. So I'm going to send you the link. You're going to download the actual trigger. I'm going to send it to you in your Discord channel. You're basically going to double click it, and then you'll have your Gina open, and you'll see it'll want to automatically merge. So you could click merge, okay? Once you merge that, basically what you're going to have are my triggers, which, as you'll see, it is quite extensive. Like I said, I'll try to warn you guys. My triggers do a lot of talking during raids. They don't shut up. They tell me about everything. I pretty much know everything Cleric-wise that's going on between myself and others around me. So I have it broken down into categories. I have my AA abilities. Okay. Pretty much everything that you can get up to this point. And basically what it's doing is it's telling me timers. You know, I'll click, if I click on, let's say, Burst of Life, rather than constantly looking at my, you know, AA ability to see if it's grayed out or not, this thing will tell me when it pops up, it's ready to go. You know, stuff like that, just to make life easy. Because in the heat of a battle, and you're clicking a lot of buttons, you know, you can miss things. But if you hear it, you know, it'll help you get through it. So I have my AA abilities. I have certain clickies here. Most everybody will have like the Epic 2.0. You'll have a Circle of Life, a Circle of Mana clicky. This is a new clicky I just got from last expansion, Focus of the Evil Eye, which is basically lets you crit each of your heal spells, which is nice. Then I have a heal window. When I splash or other people splash, it lets me know. It'll let me know when my splash is ready to go again, and it lets me know when other people's have splashed. So I can kind of time it. This way we're not overlapping each other. Like if I hear your trigger go off that you splashed, I'll give it a little bit and then I'll splash mine. This way it optimizes the healing, you know. You know, when you drop down a heal ward or you're doing a celestial regeneration and all that stuff, you'll hear mine going off, I'll hear yours going off. You kind of don't want to, you know, do it at the same time unless it's a major fight where you need everything going at once. But if you're just, we're just playing, raiding, and I click it, you know, it'll tell you when mine wears off, then you click yours. This way we don't, you know, we have like a certain rotation going on without saying it to each other. You know, the Gina trigger will let you know when someone's worn off, and then you just click yours. I have the DI monitoring, lets me know which tank has a DI, if I casted it or you casted it. This way we're not overlapping on that, wasting emeralds. Player deaths, someone dies, you know, especially if they're not in your group, you know, during a raid, you'll hear so-and-so died. I have a button on my mouse that's activates nearest corpse. So when I hear someone dies, I click that little button on my mouse and it targets the nearest corpse, which is usually that guy that died, and then I could res right on the spot. You know, little things like that, which, you know, if you want help with that too, I can show you my hotkeys and everything else, but that's another video. Okay. So I got players' deaths. I have when your invisibility runs out, guild portal changes, mez breaks, tank rampage, who's on rampage, you know, if target's out of range, you fizzle, whatever there's pretty much everything is here. Spells worn off. If somebody's buff one wears off, it'll let you know. All right, so those are the triggers, but what you need to double check to make sure that they're going to work properly, because when, like I said, when you merge triggers, sometimes your categories, which would be here, are gonna get a little screwed up. So the categories that are important when you take this merger, you want to make sure that you have an AA disc category. You want to make sure that it gave you a heal window category. You want to make sure it gave you a player's death category and a divine intervention category. Okay, so if they're not there, you just create it. Okay, if AA disc is not there, you just click add. You'll make a new category, label it the way I have it, AA space discs, and then you come here and you'll set the overlay to default, and the timers will go to the AA disc. Okay, it's important you do this if it's not there. Otherwise, half the triggers won't work. That's why a lot of times I'm reluctant to just give somebody the triggers, because I've given triggers to people in the past and they're like, yeah, it doesn't work. And I come to realize from sharing the trigger from one of my computers to one of my other computers, they get screwed up somehow, during the merger. So you have to make sure that these categories are there. Cleric heals might pop up. You just want to make sure that it goes to overlay heals, overlay default. The colors you could always change on your own. That's up to you. Debuffs, I don't believe I have anything. This might have been a merge from someone else to me. I don't know if you're going to have a debuffs. Don't worry about debuffs. The default, make sure default goes to overlay default and time is default. That's important. Divine intervention, overlay default, and the timers are going to go to a divine intervention overlay, which I'm going to show you in a minute. Emotes, I don't think I use anything with emotes, but if it pops up, just make sure it's all default. Heal window, overlay, you want it to go to the heals, okay? And overlay default. Now, if you don't see any option here for heals, or like you come here and you don't see any option for AA discs, what you have to do, okay? You go to your home thing here, go to your overlays. This is what you should see as well. If you don't see this, you have to make it, okay? It's not hard. It's might be a little overwhelming, but if you just follow these steps I'm showing you, you'll be perfect, okay? If you just have default and default, right? You don't have heals, death, AAs, divine intervention. You just add it, okay? So like, let's say you don't have heals on this half of the trigger overlay. You click add, you just name it heals. That's all you have to do. If you don't have this death window on the left-hand side here, click add and just write death. Enter, boom. As long as it pops up there, you're good. For the other side on the overlays, these are mostly my timers. So you have a default timer. You should have an AA disc timer. If you don't, just click add right here. Label it AA space discs with an apostrophe S. Perfect. Divine intervention, same thing. If you don't have it, click add. Label it divine intervention. Done. Okay, so what you should see on your overlay page, default, heals, death. You might have other things there as well from your particular triggers. Don't worry about it. Don't delete them. Just leave them be. But just make sure for my triggers, you have heals, death, default AA's divine intervention. Those are the overlays. Okay, so like just to show you real quick, these are the overlays. This is how I have them on my screen, which I'll show you in a bit, how you want to lay it out, but you want those overlays. Now, you come to categories. Like I was saying, you should have AA discs, and your AA discs are going to go to default overlay, and the timer overlay is going to have AA discs. So if you go back here to the overlays, you'll see AA disc timer. That's where those triggers are going to go on this overlay. And that's how it works, okay? So you want, I'm starting over basically. AA discs, Cleric heals, which, by the way, just put it there. If it's not there, don't worry about it, because the one that's important is the heal window. Okay? Heal window, player's death, and divine intervention are the 4 have to have categories. Has to be. All right? Everything else is from your triggers or a merger from other people. Don't worry about it. Don't delete nothing. Just make sure that when you open up my triggers and you merge my triggers, that you have this AA disc, divine intervention, heal window, player's death. Okay, those are the windows that I use, and my triggers are those are the only, and default are the only ones that I use. So as far as performance goes, you should have this all clicked for 16 CPUs. I know that if you're using a Windows under Windows 10, you probably don't have any problems. But anything Windows 10 and up need to be dedicated CPUs. These need to be checked off. Okay, so that's that part of it. Showed you the categories, overlays. I'm going to get into that in a second. How you want to lay it out is your preference. I'm going to show you my layout, and then you go from there. And so basically, you'll have your character here. It should be there. If this is all new to you and you're doing a fresh install and you don't have Gina set up, then you're going to want to create your character. So what you'll do is you'll click add, and you'll have to have your character online, and you'll do a /log space on so that it creates a log file. And then you would just come here and search for it, which would be, you would go to your Windows, your users, public, Daybreak, wherever your EverQuest game is installed, EverQuest, and then you would come to your logs folder and you just double click on that. And that's going to tell that, your character, your log file, that's where it's going to go to grab all this information to have these triggers go off. Okay, you would put your character's name, monitor on startup for your main character. If you're using boxes, you could set triggers for your boxes too, but then it gets too crazy. That's probably better if you're using multiple computers, but I would only use one Gina package per computer. Otherwise, you're going to hear things that's going to be insane. All right. I have mine set up to 0, so on and so forth. Okay. But anyway, let me just make sure that I didn't. Yeah, I like using the female voice.
Sippycup.
And I have it pretty at a fast speed.
Sippycup.
You don't want it at a slow speed.
Sippycup.
Because as these triggers are going off, there's so many triggers going off. If it's talking slow, by the time it catches up, you're going to miss things, which is important. Nobody tells you these things. So you want to have it going.
Sippycup. Sippycup. Sippycup.
Because there's going to be a lot of things going off. So you just want to hear it. You want to hear it say what it's got to say as it's happening quickly. All right. Okay. So now you installed the triggers. You made sure the categories were there, the overlays. You made sure that you have these overlays down. So now how do you lay it out on the screen? By the way, you're playing in Windows, hopefully. If you're playing full screen, I don't know that this is going to work for you. It could work full screen, but I've had nothing but problems trying to make it work full screen. And I believe most people play windowed.
Sento casts tranquil blessings.
See what I'm saying? I don't know. Sento was in the other room, but it picked it up. It's about to cast some buffs. Okay, that's how it works. So we come to the character, right? How do you lay it out, right? Now I have this user interface. I've been using this for about almost 18 years. Drakkar is the name of the interface on eqinterface.com. He updates it every time there's a patch when he needs to. It's worked for me flawlessly. I haven't changed it in 18 years. All right. This is my setup, my hotkeys. But that's me. You just want to use this Gina triggers for yourself. So however you're laid out. But for my layout, just to give you an idea, I have default in the center. Anything that I have that's going to tell me visually, you know, like my invisibility is dropping or whatever, and I don't hear it go off or I'm not paying attention, it'll just put it in my face. And so I like to have the default, whatever's going to spell it out for me, in my face. And this is basically in the center, in my face. All right. Then I have my heal window, which I put here. I like to have it off to the side to my left. This way it just catches my eye. It's just better for me. And so when I start healing, this is all gonna scroll upwards. All right. So if I'm healing, you know, whoever I'm healing, let's see if I can find somebody here. Start healing people. You'll get an idea. Like if I cast Tranquil Blessings and I give out a buff, even a buff, anything that gives hit points, you're going to see it popping up here on this overlay. You can stretch this out. You can make it wider. You can make it longer. You definitely want to give it some space up and down, because it's going to scroll up and down, and the more you scroll it up, the more you're going to see your heals scroll. Okay, if
Tranquil Blessings is ready.
You know what I'm trying to say. You're going to have to lay it out the way you like it. I don't think it's going to come preloaded with my layouts. You're most definitely going to have to set this up yourself. Once you get it where you want it, right? This is where it lives on my user interface. You just click the save button. And that's it. You don't have to worry about that window anymore. My player death window. Someone dies. Not only do I visually, you know, audio wise hear so-and-so died, it'll spell it out for me right here in this window. I like to keep it right where my extended target window is. Makes sense, right? Because I'm constantly looking here. You know, this is my extended target window. I have the tanks going up to the Shadow Knights, going up to the Paladins. Okay, this is the way I always do it. Other people do it other ways. This is how I do it. I like to keep the tanks very close to my buttons. So if I'm going between Tokus, Tyler, you know, Bloody, I can literally click my buttons right then and there. They're the ones that are getting the most damage most of the time. Then the Knights, I just, you know, little by little, just fades up for me. Okay. On this side, my target window, I have the Clerics. I have Need More on there. I have an Enchanter, the Monks, a Necro, you know, the high DPS guys I usually put here. Berserker, you know, high DPS I usually put here. Guys that are important to, you know, knocking down these mobs quickly. You want to keep them up. Those are the guys you want to keep up. The high DPS, I keep them there. Now, Phenom casts Tranquil Blessings. I know that. See, I hear it. This way, you know that a buff is coming. Or before a fight starts. If, like, let's say you forget to hit Tranquil Blessings. Like, that's happened to me a few times before I made this trigger. And then you're in the middle of a fight and you can't cast anything. You know, you can't cast your Celestial Regen or your, you know, your Celestial, your Elixirs, MG Bead, because you forgot to click Tranquil Blessings. Well, when you about to start a raid, you're going to hear everybody's clicking their Tranquil Blessings, which is going to remind you, oh, I better click my Tranquil Blessings, right? Now you see when I clicked it, I got a little window here that's giving me a timer, and it's telling me when it's ready to cast again, okay? It's because, you know, I like to see things like this rather than look at the grayed out window, which brings us to the next section here. I have my Divine Intervention window over here. So let's say I give Splue here Divine Intervention.
Is ready. Divine Intervention Splue.
Pops up here on the left-hand side. As I Divine Intervention the tanks, I'll have this whole thing window filled out with all the tanks, and it's on a timer, countdown. So now, if the Divine Intervention didn't go off, how would you know, right? You know, you have this timer, you could still see he has it, but then you also know that, hey, before the next fight, it's time to cast again. That, you know, just makes life easy. So that's my Divine Intervention window. I keep that on this side, out of the way. All right. The other window, AA discs. This window fills up pretty quickly. I keep it on this side, you know, visually. I keep everything visually to my left because my spell bar is to the left. And that's a natural reaction for me, is to go to my left. But like, let's say I start clicking AAs, right? My Tranquil Blessing, Celestial Regen, there it goes, pops up on this overlay, and it counts it down. I can cast Celestial Regeneration again, 7 minutes, 20 seconds, right? I can click Beacon of Life, boom. Beacon of Life goes off, Burst of Life, all these AAs, Divine Guardian, right? Here we go. Plus, it also puts it up here. DG is on Splue, right? This way, not only do I have the time on when I can reuse Divine Guardian, but I can see that it's gonna last 2 minutes and whatever seconds on him during a fight, and then when it goes off, this bar goes away. Then I know it worked. Spire, Vicar, all the AA clickies basically are gonna go on this overlay. You know, I'll click them all for you. Right? This fills up, but it's just nice. See, now I have the heal window going off, even though it's all zeros right now. But during a raid, this gives me an idea of what I'm doing. Am I being effective, or am I all zeros? You know, it makes a difference, because if I'm not producing, I try to find a way to you know, I'll throw in a splash, or I'll throw in you know, my issuance of grace and all these things, whatever I got to do to get the production numbers up. And that's basically the triggers, okay? When you have your layout the way you want it, you just click the save button, and then it goes away, and then it's there working behind the scenes. All right, and you'll get used to seeing all these things. Now you might not like seeing all these things, right? I don't know, that this is a preference thing. You might not like hearing all of the triggers going off. You can shut them off trigger by trigger if you wanted to do that, right? So you can go like, let's say whatever, play at death, right? Play as death. Whenever it has a use text to speech, whatever's annoying you, just click no sound and then save it. Okay, that's how you get rid of the talking part of it. If something is annoying you, like this heal window, if that gets overwhelming to you, then you can basically, I think, click it off by going to heal window. I think you might have to remove it basically, to get rid of that. But that's up to you.
Beacon of light is ready.
Just looking at my screen.
Burst of light is ready.
And see how it's talking to me. And this is going slow right now. I'm not in a raid situation. It's letting me know when the time is up. It's telling me that it's ready. I don't even have to look at my buttons anymore. But if this is something that's gonna annoy you, don't install it. Okay? Don't install it. That's my advice. If you want this type of stuff and you like seeing this spam, this is spam to me, because you could have this in a chat window is the same thing, right? Because here it is, it's basically duplicated. I mean, you know, you could, but to me this is hard for me to see rather than this. I like seeing this better. It just catches my eye better rather than trying to read little things here. I see it here. But that's basically it. And yeah, hope it works out. If you have any questions, shoot me a tell in Discord, and I'll try to work through any problems. But basically, go over this video I made you again and make sure that those categories are there. Pause the screen, pause your video, or type it exactly the way I have it, and you should be fine. The only thing you really are going to have to do is just move your overlays around the way you want them. Okay? So you have default, heals, death, default, AA, divine. These are all the windows. This is what it looks like with all the windows showing. Okay? And I have it molded around my user interface. This is how I got it. Okay? Once you got the window where you want it, just click the save button and make that disappear, and it'll be in the background now, and you'll have this going. All right. Yeah. And feel free to, if you want to share this with Oliver or anybody else. I'll probably forward this over to Tyler, because he was asking me if a little ways back for this. It's no problem. Whatever you want to do. Okay. All right. I'll talk to you later. One other thing you should know. Yeah. You want your voice on video, honey? That's fine. Yeah. No, it's staying there. Okay. One other thing you should know. You watch this video in full. Nice. Here's the one trigger that I will guarantee you is always screwed up. I'm going to show you it. You need to make sure it's fixed. It is in the RAID DI monitoring tab. This divine immutable blah 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 indemnification here. Double click it. This watches every divine intervention, whatever era, whatever version, whatever it is. Okay? This line of spells. It will monitor from the earliest level spell to the current divine intervention. What you need to make sure in this trigger, come to the timer tab. And this is important. Otherwise, this trigger will drive you nuts. You have to make sure it is on timer countdown. This is exact. This is exact time duration. This is the important part. If your trigger is already running, when triggered again, restart current timer. Has to be exactly like that. You could have, if you have new timer or do nothing, you're screwed. It has to be restart current timer. And this needs to be checked off. Restart instance if timer name matches. Has to be. This has to be here as well. Search text. The gods have healed blah, blah, blah for blah, blah, blah means the trigger went off, which means it takes it off the monitor. You need that clicked, use Regenix. You need this exactly as you see it on this page, 100%. Don't worry about this. This needs to be checked. It needs to go to the Divine Intervention category. And this is the most important thing. Restart current timer. Restart instance if time and name matches. Has to be, or this particular trigger will never work. That's just what I've come across. All right. See you later.